wanted to talk about the whole process of how we got our camper fixed. We noticed a lot of issues after 6 months. We're going to talk about why we didn't take it back to the place we bought it at and why we chose to take it back to the manufacturer, and just all the reasons and all the things that we needed fixed. And then so when the fridge fell out, the slides were closed and it fell on our dining room table, breaking the plastic. The patch job they did is actually, you can't even tell that they did. Like, we're both pretty happy.
Oh, it came out wonderful. So then, like, subscribe, show our friends. Catch you guys on the next one. Don't miss out. Hit that follow button.
Hey guys. So we wanted to talk about the whole process of how we got our camper fixed. We noticed a lot of issues after 6 months, and so we're going to talk about why we didn't take it back to the place we bought it at and why we chose to take it back to the manufacturer, and just all the reasons and all the things that we needed fixed. And then they gave us a letter that like kind of outlines everything that got fixed on it. And so the reason we
some stuff that is added to this letter we didn't even add. Yeah,
the reason we chose to go back to the manufacturer instead of where we purchased it at is we were having a little bit of issues with the place we purchased it at. We just didn't really have any trust in them anymore, and we heard that it takes a lot longer if you drop it off at the place you purchased it at than the manufacturer. So we drove up from Tennessee to Elkhart, Indiana. It was like Goshen in Indiana where the manufacturer is. Forest River is our camper's manufacturer. And so we just went up there, we dropped it off. It was a pretty seamless process. The only thing we forgot was we were supposed to print out the checklist that showed everything we wanted done. We had emailed it to them before, but we probably should have printed it out for them to just have it on hand.
I don't know.
We ended up having to take the bikes off, which we pretty much knew we were going to, because obviously they don't.
You didn't think we were gonna.
No, I knew. It was in the back of my mind that they would make us do it, but how are we gonna disconnect it when they're the camper's attached to our truck? So we kind of had to like.
And then our bed was full of stuff that we took out of the camper.
Yeah.
So where the bikes really go.
Yeah, so we had to like attach it to the actual like hookup, the tow hitch, and while our camper was attached to the tow hitch, we had to wait to move the bikes over. That was the only hiccup that we had, was just moving it over. We literally dropped it off, they pulled up with the little forklift, grabbed the camper, and took it back. And we have the video if you guys want to watch it, of when we went to Elkhart, Indiana, and it was a pretty cool experience. There's tons of Amish up there, a lot. You see them like going down the roads by the manufacturers and stuff.
It's pretty cool.
And then, I mean, there's a lot of manufacturers there, a lot more than you would think. We were in Goshen, so we were next to the Brinkley factory. I think there were like a couple other, what was?
Lippert. God dang it. Lippert.
Yeah. They were there. We saw Brinkley and we saw Forest River. Forest River has like 4 or 5 different buildings.
Which is crazy. I mean, it was just big.
It was.
Yeah.
Brinkley's manufacturer building, that thing looks like you're like driving up to a showroom. It's pretty crazy. I mean, you could not expect that with the price tag that you get for that though. So this is the list that they ended up giving us. It just kind of outlines like everything that they fixed. So when you go through this process, you email like a list, and they'll give you like a piece of paper, and you sign it, and it shows like just everything that you're expecting to get fixed. They were really accommodating with us. We were able to add stuff, like, because obviously we're living in it, so there was more gonna happen down the road, and we were waiting 3 months. So we had to wait 3 months for the appointment. Our fridge fell out in October, and we had to wait until January 29th to drop it off. So we did have to wait a decent amount of time, but we weren't like, it wasn't sitting somewhere waiting. Like, we were living in it the 3 months, and then we dropped it off on the 29th of January, or yeah. And so it was originally, they had marked on our paper that it was only going to take 3 days. But that was just to fix the fridge. We added on the shower pan to our shower because we finally realized it was cracked, and so we had that fixed. Because I think it was leaking water in down, and because so when we would move the camper, it would like let out tons of water, and that's when I was like, Houston, I think the shower pan's cracked. So we got that fixed. But here's the list of everything, and there's like 18 plus 4 extra things. They also did maintenance, so we have a year.
What kind of maintenance?
Just like yearly maintenance on it.
Roof maintenance, sill maintenance. They did.
Yeah. So they repaired the damaged table legs and base with new. So when the fridge fell out, the slides were closed and it fell on our dining room table, breaking the plastic pieces that hold the table legs. And so they replaced those because it wasn't holding our table anymore. So they replaced the damaged linoleum. When the slides were in and the fridge fell out, it has like really sharp like metal pieces underneath.
Like brackets to hold it up.
Yeah, and so it like scratched our linoleum. So they replaced it, and the patch job they did is actually, you can't even tell that they did it. Like when you slide your foot down it, you can tell a little bit, but it's literally, you literally cannot see it with your eye. You can feel it a little bit, but they did a really good job. They had a professional company come in and fix it. It looks really good. They replaced the dinette benches and re-secured loose window trim as needed. So when the fridge fell out, it messed with some of the window trim, so it just needed to be like re-tacked onto the wall. The cushions, when the fridge fell out, the freezer opened and it was like defrosting on both of the kitchens, or the dinette kitchen cushions, and so they replaced it with new cushions. They did, the first cushions were too short, so that's why we had to wait an extra week, is because they had to have them remade with an extra inch of cushion because they were made too short. They installed a new refrigerator because the refrigerator fell out on its face, and it was also shorting out our breaker, and we had to put like 4 different fuses in it, and so that was cool that they were able to do that. They replaced the cracked trim ring on the microwave with a new. So Houston has a buddy that they were going hunting, and the microwave had a crack in the frame, and it literally fell out. And it's an older Forest River model, and so we're like, when we started seeing that crack, I'm like, so they replaced it. It's like, you know, the housing of the microwave that holds it into the cabinet, it just for some reason cracks. I don't know why. Replaced the water damaged cabinets on the island with new. So we have like the countertops and the cabinets, they're like really weird laminate, like pressed laminate, and it just soaks up water like crazy. So when we're doing dishes, it run down the front of the cabinet and it started peeling the gray surface off of the cabinet. So they just replaced the cabinet doors, which was really cool. Replaced damaged ski on the rear back end of the living room slide out with new and adjusted rooms. So the underneath of the slide of the dining room, it was coming down, and me and Houston, when we were in Yellowstone, we thought our slide was falling apart. We're like, oh my god, we've only owned this for a month and our slide's falling apart. Then he took the caulking off of it and like pulled the seam, and it was for some reason when like trim or whatever got glued on there, it got glued on wrong. So when we would push the slide in, it was kind of tearing the trim. So they replaced it. Houston said it looks really good. I don't know.
I freaking like it.
I haven't looked at
that
it.
one compared to the other ones, that one's
That's
a lot
cool.
nicer.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it yet.
I like that style.
Made any adjustments needed to the slides outs for proper operational seal. The slide out seals are not only supposed to compress by 50, therefore the room should never be flushed to the wall. I wrote in the notes like I want them to be flushed, because if you walk to like, so we had 3 slides in our camper, and I think the only one that was like sitting pretty flush was kitchen slide. The kids slide and the dining room slide, they weren't going in right, or they would be like one side in, one side out. And so they did fix it. I like how it all looks. It looks really good. They really fixed it. It looks good. I think it does.
I like it.
Yeah. It looks better than when we got it. Like when we got it, you know, because when you buy a camper, you don't really think about these things. Like, hey, we didn't ask them to pull the slides in when we decided to buy it. We should have asked them for other purposes too, but we didn't ask them to pull the slides in when we bought the camper, and we should have looked at it and everything. But now I feel like it looks better than it did before on the outside. Replace both fender skirts with new. So we were talking to Tony at Forest River, and he says when they manufacture these, they don't manufacture them correctly, and they put the fenders in, they don't have support for them, so they just flap in the wind and they bust. So we had to put glue on one of them because literally it was almost falling off by the time we were halfway through California. It was pretty cracked. So they replaced both of the fenders for, like, you know, the tires. They were cracking because they're plastic. They replaced both of them and it looks way better. The sound bar, we asked about the sound bar because we have a sound bar underneath our TV and it's a Furrion. We were like, I don't, you know, some of them are like Bluetooth capable, so they like connect. Well, we have to actually run an HDMI cord from the soundbar to our TV to use it.
I tried it the other day and it didn't work.
That's what they said. I don't know. Replace the wee camper door catch with a new. So we have a hamper in our master bedroom, and it kept opening, and when if you guys know, the underneath of our bed is like an open storage, and so when that would open, it would let like a draft in. So it was kind of annoying. It wouldn't latch right, so they just replaced the latch for it.
I haven't looked at it.
Replaced the cracked shower pan and surrounding with new. They did a pretty good job. When we first purchased it, the shower one side would pop out, and I had the place we bought it from fix it. It's doing it again, but we'll figure out a solution to it. It's not a big deal at all. They replaced it. It looks good. They sealed it all.
So if you guys have tips on what to do, and we'll put a picture on what it looks like now.
Well, it's in when we picked it up, when we walked through it, you guys can see me kind of trying to mess with it, like not understanding why it's not opening or closing, but it did that when we purchased it too, and the place we purchased it from was able to fix it, so it shouldn't be that big of an issue. Yeah. The dinette light was no longer available. Replaced it with the new style current production. So the light in our dining room, our son broke the switch. I don't know how he broke the switch, but literally the button just fell out of it. Like, and so
broke completely.
Yeah, like the whole switch to the actual light, it would not turn on or nothing. Like I tried to put it together, we couldn't figure it out because it was literally really broken. So the light that we have in our dining room now is what's in the new 2025 Heritage Cleanse that they're producing, because they do not have that product anymore. So we had to get the new one, which it matches pretty well with our interior.
Our sink, everything.
Our sink has like is it called bronze? Yeah. And the inside of the light has bronze. I don't mind it. It actually looks pretty nice.
Or brass, maybe it is brass.
So the light too, when we were going down the road, it would like unscrew a little bit. So I feel like this one's a little bit more secure. I'm really not mad that they switched it to it. No. Found the water seam in the laundry closet coming from the cracked skylight. Inspected the roof and ceiling panels for any damage, and none was found. There was slight staining in the skylight opening, which was sanded and treated. No other damage was found. Both skylights were replaced with new due to recall. So both our skylights, we have one in our kitchen and one in our bathroom. They were both recalled. And me and Houston kept wondering, like, okay, so when we were in Clifton, we noticed that we were having like a waterfall come in our closet. And we always had like a weird leak that we could never figure out where it was coming from. And so they said that this leak that was in our washer and dryer closet was coming from the skylight in the bathroom. So they had to sand and put kills on it to prevent mold. But we had both of our skylights recalled, so they replaced both of those. So any recalls they fixed. Yeah. Yeah. So repairs continued. This is kind of stuff that they just did on their own. Miscellaneous fit and fixtures are needed throughout unit. Honestly, I haven't really noticed anything, but we haven't really been in here for very long, so I can't tell you what else they did. The spot sealed the interior roof as needed for seasonal maintenance. So obviously they had to replace the skylights, so they did that, and they probably just spot sealed whatever else when they were out there. Yeah. A standard PDI was done. Went through the rain bay too, right? Yeah, there's something on here, it should say that. Yeah, they put it through the rain bay after they fixed everything just to make sure there was no more leaks, and it passed it. So honestly, we were pleasantly surprised at everything they were able to get accomplished. Yeah. So originally, so we dropped it off January 29th. Originally, they were only supposed to have it 3 days, so we should have picked it up like that week. But we added on the shower, and so that added on a lot more to their plate than they originally thought. So they kept it, I think it was 2.5 weeks. And the only reason, or 3.5 weeks, the only reason that extra week is because they had to order new cushions, and they had to have them made. It wasn't even order them. They have to have the cushions custom made. And because probably our model isn't being manufactured anymore, I'm sure they're not using this trim style. So or this color. Yeah, they're using like a brown now, and ours is gray. So they probably just had to they probably have the material. They just had to have it made. I can't complain. If you guys ever have an issue with whoever you purchased it through, I mean, Google or whatever, call the number. I'm sure there's a number out there for any manufacturer. I know Brinkley and Grand Design has a pretty good process for you guys, but if you guys have something that's not that, I don't know.
Forest River, yeah. They did phenomenal, and we definitely appreciate it. And, yeah.
If you guys want the process done quicker, if you guys want
quality work,
better work, because sometimes, I don't know.
Yeah, we have stories.
Yeah. We're both pretty happy.
Oh, it came out wonderful.
Yeah.
We're glad to have our home back and be able to be in it. Until then, like, subscribe, show our friends. Catch you guys on the next one. Don't miss out. Hit that follow button. Until then, keep on watching.